Shout out to Jake Paul for you know, coming with me and making this event happen, and his team, and what is MP Promotions, Netflix, Al Heyman, everybody.
Turns out he can't read, just like Floyd.
Oh, MVP, MP. Remember that. You got a mohawk.
You tattooed your fucking name on your forehead so you wouldn't forget, you dumbass.
That's not my name, dumbass. That's my daughter's name, dumbass. My son's name, dumbass. Hey, again, you got a mohawk.
Charlie, he means the world to the United States, and his legacy lives on today. But yeah, I knew we'd be here. Before we start more, I want to take a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk and his family, Erica Kirk, real heroes of America.
Now, of course, you're probably thinking, here he goes again with another race baiting video. Well, let me tell you a couple of things. Number one, let's be real. This is the type of content that everybody likes and that everybody listens to. And I'm not talking about Jake Paul or MMA content or that in general. I'm talking about race baiting. That's just the honest truth. That is what everybody falls for. That is what everybody likes. And whether you like it or not, this is the way they're going to market this fight as Jake Paul, the white savior that's going to stop Gervonta Davis from all of his mishaps that he's created. As he even said, this is going to be his karmatic retribution of some sort. I don't know about all that. I will say, though, there's a lot of politicizing going on in the world of combat sports. Obviously, the Charlie Kirk tribute that UFC's Noche did on the same day as Canelo versus Crawford. And now this, Jake Paul making a tribute to Charlie Kirk. Of course it's politicized. So therefore, anything that's politicized has a race baiting value towards.
See, just stay completely out of it, but maybe you think different. I would argue that, just wanted to know your thoughts on the UFC paying tribute to Charlie Kirk on the UFC Noche broadcast. Showing the president walk into the building is one thing, but specifically paying, I mean, the jig is up. Like, the UFC is a right-wing company. I mean, I know for a fact that there are people there, including executives, who are not that way, but that is what they are. That is the audience they are looking for. That is the audience they are. The opposite is the audience they are firmly rejecting. Like, it is a right-wing company now. But specifically paying homage to a political activist whose general political views align with yours is different, in my opinion. I would rather the UFC just stay completely out of it, but maybe you think different. I would argue that of all the problems that we have right now, I got to tell you, this is just not on my radar. I think a better question would be, I mean, it's, what do you want me to say? I think a better question would be, what do people who were the subject, or the object, I should say, of his political attacks and criticisms, how do they feel about it? But then the answer to that is going to be, it doesn't really matter because the UFC is not going to care. I did an interview on Tuesday with a guy who used to work at ESPN. He does political stuff now, but he used to work at ESPN, was, a big sports guy turns out coincidentally from the DC area, but nevertheless, and in fact, the reason I know him is because of an MMA connection within the MMA industry. In fact, not one, but two of them. So we actually have an MMA tie-in. And, he was talking about, like, he used to read Full Contact Fighter back in the day, like old school, and was completely put off by the UFC's rightward turn and doesn't want to be, and has not really watched anymore at all as a consequence. This is a conscious choice that they made. And so within that particular framework, that decision to honor a political commentator, again, terrible assassination. So you can understand why from their worldview that would be a thing. But to me, it's like, focusing on that when it's like, well, okay, but as like distinct from the president. Remember, they didn't just give Trump a walkout as president. They gave him a walkout as candidate.
So you're probably wondering, why am I playing a Luke Thomas clip talking about how combat sports has become politicized? Well, the reason for that is to make you understand Jake Paul's motivation and how he's going to promote this fight. Now, look, I doubt Jake Paul has a racist bone in his body, and you have to doubt I have any racist bone in my body whatsoever. But the fact remains, it is entertaining when you add that particular element into this. And then on top of that, you have a size factor going on. You got Jake Paul, who is damn near 200 pounds, and Gervonta Tank Davis, who can't even make 150 pounds, let alone 190 pounds, right? So, yeah, please understand that this fight has a lot of racial implications going on, like most fights do. The only difference is that some people are not going to firmly admit it. Now, why is that? Because obviously, when you add race into the whole entire mix, it's ugly. It's ugly, period, when you are dealing with it in real life situations. But I'm going to be honest with you, it's very lucrative in the world of combat sports, and that is something that you cannot deny.
Tank Davis. Tank Davis. Star in boxing. Tank Davis.
Yeah.
Is it okay? Everything's good though?
Everything's great. No, everything's going really well.
So, dude, you're fucking fighting Gervonta fucking Davis.
Yeah,
we're in a Bugatti pulling up there. Like, are you excited? Now it's in Miami too.
It's good. I love that it's in Miami. It's gonna be way more fun here.
Yeah, it is.
It's bro. This is the best place to fight, I think, right now.
You won the 10K?
Yeah, bro, but I'm trying to claim it, but
The follower goal?
yeah, follow me.
All right, after the presser, meet me at the warehouse, okay? I'm coming right back here. I got you. God bless you too. So
Now, it is worth noting and understanding that just because people are attracted to that particular element of fight promotion, it doesn't mean that somehow Jake Paul or Gervonta Tank Davis actually think that way. In fact, these two guys are international superstars. They've been around different types of people. They know how to act around different types of people. And as a result of that, there is no racist bone in their body whatsoever. These are worldly thinking individuals. Now, on the other hand, when you have Jake Paul's fans, who, by the way, are mostly right-wing dudes nowadays, right? Which is kind of surprising going back to his earlier days when you think about Jake Paul as back then in comparison to. Fast forward 8 minutes later into this video, better yet, 8 years later after that video was shot, here we are. Jake Paul, now considered a world-level boxer, not a championship-level boxer, but a world-level boxer, at least. Right? Or at least somewhat decent, somewhat formidable to some competition. Now, speaking of world champions, what about Gervonta Tank Davis? As I was mentioning to you earlier, obviously, the way that people are going to perceive this fight, especially with the type of community that Gervonta Davis is from, well, you know what? Let's go back in time when he fought Ryan Garcia and what I said in the post-fight regarding Gervonta Tank Davis and the type of environment he comes from was, or whatever you make of that as you will. The bottom line is it's just not a good look for him. But at the same time, it also doesn't help that a lot of people have this harsh stereotype towards him and this level of hatred for just the fact that he's just different than you. He grew up in the hood. He grew up in the wrong side of town. And then on top of that, he's over there flashing money during the, I believe it was the weigh-ins or it was the press conference, one of those pre-fight rituals that they had going on. He was basically flashing the money to Tank Davis. And look, here's the thing. It's not really appealing for two types of demographics, right? Even two contrasting demographics are going to look at that and be like, you know, dude, what are you doing? A rich guy, let's say somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, you look at him, he wears the same clothes every day. It's not really the most extravagant dresser, doesn't really wear designer clothes or this and that. And he's one of the richest guys in the world. But he's going to look at Tank Davis. Now, I'm not saying that he specifically, but somebody in that stature, right? Because there's a lot of rich guys out there that really just don't go out there and flaunt it like that. They live very frugal. And then on top of that, they live very low key. So you never know that they're going to be rich. But if you come from the hood and you came from nothing and you had basically zero to your name and all of a sudden now you just came up with it, I'm telling you, man, it's a different kind of vibe. You're going to want to show the world like, hey, look what I got. Because you got to understand, sometimes when you come from that negative culture, right, where everybody is broke, everybody doesn't have money, or this and that, and then they tell you all your life you're always going to be broke, you're never going to have money, you're never going to have anything, you're never going to be successful, you're never going to have the career that you want, you're never going to get out of the ghetto, you're never going to become champion. Man, you know what? I tell you, that breaks a lot of people down in ways that you cannot understand. It also hurts a lot of people. It hurts a lot of people in ways where they think to themselves, my goodness, man, maybe I'm not good enough. And then their low self-esteem starts kicking in, and it just boils over, and then it just continues and exacerbates to the point where a lot of these people sometimes can go to the extreme and do harmful things to themselves because they just can't take it anymore, where these people just become an absolute menace in more ways than one. Not a menace per se in the sense where they're a danger to society, but sometimes they become narcissistic in a way where, like, you know what? Now I've risen above this situation from a situation that I really didn't like, a situation where I was not in one of the best statures ever. Well, now I rose above it. Now I want to show the world, right? Because, well, that clip right there that I just showed you was from the post-fight video that I made for Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, right? Back in April 22nd of 2023. And here we are 2 years later. So, yes, that is exactly what I mean by the type of crowd Gervonta Davis has and why he acts like the way he does when it comes to money. And then fast forward to this particular press conference, this is what you got.
2 million? I don't know. I can't even say because motherfuckers gonna hate me for it. So I'm gonna chill. I might donate it.
Are you more excited now that with this bet, with the $2 million bet?
2 million, I'm not donating 2 million. I come from the hood. Not doing that. I'll give some, but I ain't doing 2 million.
I tell you what, in all honesty, if you come from that type of poverty, I think there's a scarcity mentality that you sort of develop, right? Like, you don't want to share anything with anybody. You don't want to share a little bit of the food you have with anybody. You don't want to share a little bit of the money you have with everybody. You just think that everybody is out to get you or everybody is out to scam you. I mean, it definitely jades your heart, but understand this is the kind of environment that Gervonta Tank Davis comes from. So, in retrospect, how his audience is going to look at this is going to be completely different than how the Jake Paul audience is going to look at this. So, I'm sorry to say, but if you think that you are going to get race baited into this video, well, you got another thing coming. It was only the title that I put because that's exactly what I was feeling at that time. Now, is it true? Probably not. But is it entertaining? You dang right it is. It is entertaining, and you're going to keep watching because it is what sells in combat sports. And with that in mind, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe as we follow this fight all the way to fight day and beyond. Inshallah. MMA needs, if you want to find predictions, news, and everything that deals with MMA, shout outs to Kyrie, Abu El-Kheer MMA, Sacramento, California, represent.
That's right, Kyrie. I appreciate you, my nigga. You came in here, you was talking that shit. That's right, bro. Much love, Flo. I appreciate you for always stepping in, bro. Be safe out there. Man, my nigga Kyrie, my man Kyrie came through. He started talking that shit. Hey, here's the thing. Here's the thing. That nigga will whoop your fucking ass. You would think that nigga's all squared up and all that type of shit. Nigga come through and beat your fucking ass. Like, man, fuck you up. You will never see it coming. So for those of y'all